Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timmy Treagle, and today I'm giving you another top 10 list. Yes, I'm giving you my top 10 favorite horror movies of the 2000s. That's from 2000 to 2009. I love horror movies. This decade was the resurgence of horror movies after a somewhat dismal decade of horror movies in 1990s. This was the resurgence that we definitely needed, and there are tons of horror movies that were just fantastic. And before I get to this top 10 list, I'm going to give you my honorable mentions, and they are from 5 to 1: Resident Evil, the Halloween remake 2007, Trick or Treat, The Mist, and Joyride. All great movies, just couldn't make my top 10 list. But what did make my top 10 was number 10, and that is The Orphan. There's something wrong with Esther. This movie was fantastic. And the third act of this movie alone is worth watching. This little girl gets adopted by a family, and you really believe she's a little girl. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, it turns out she's actually an older woman. She's just real short. And the creepy thing she does in the third act is crazy. But this movie is underrated in my opinion, and not as appreciated as it should be. But I love The Orphan. If you haven't seen it, I believe it's 2009 when this one came out. So definitely check it out. Definitely worth being in my top 10 list. Coming at number 9 is one that still gets me to this day, and that is The Strangers. The Strangers is one of those movies where you're in an isolated place. It's just one couple, and there's a knock at the door, and there's a figure sitting there asking if someone is home, and they tell them that they have the wrong house, and these three characters just continue to harass and torture this couple. And the main reason behind it is because they were home. And I love this movie. And the sequel that came out in 2018, I believe it came out this year. Yes. Strangers Pray at Night. I love that movie. It's a slasher movie. It's great. But this original is freaking phenomenal. It doesn't take a whole lot of jump scares and everything to make a great horror movie, and this movie proves that. The three characters are so creepy, and I love this movie. Definitely check out The Strangers and its sequel if you haven't seen it. Coming to number 8 is going to be a movie I know I'm going to catch a lot of hell from, but I really don't care, because this is my favorite Rob Zombie movie, and that is number 8, Devil's Rejects. This is a follow-up to House of a Thousand Corpses, which I also love. And you find the brother-sister duo, along with their mother and their brothers, waking up to police presence and basically being fired upon for their actions and what they have done from the previous movie. And so they're on the run with Captain Spaulding, Sid Haig, who is my favorite. I love him. But Sherry Moon Zombie and Bill Moseley, they're fantastic in this movie. The kills, they're not that over the top, but they're just fantastic. This whole movie is great. This is by far my favorite zombie movie, his best work, in my opinion. And I don't care what anybody says. Everybody gives him a lot of flack for having his wife in all the movies and stuff, but I love it. Why pay a high-priced actress or someone else to do this role when she can do it? She's underrated, in my opinion. Yes, I said it. She is underrated, and he is underrated as a director. He has a certain style, and I love that style. It's in your face. It's screaming, yelling, fighting, and I love it. And Devil's Rejects, number 8. Great. Number 7 is a movie that a lot of people probably haven't heard of. It is called Eden Lake, and I believe that is a 2007 movie, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I have that movie on my DVR, I believe. Well, maybe not. But it is a great, great movie. The third act of this movie will definitely throw you and make your mouth drop, especially the ending. Oh my lord! It's about this couple who run into this group of youths who stalk and torture them throughout this movie, and it is Michael Fassbender is in this movie. Played a Magneto in the X-Men trilogy, the prequel trilogy. Uh, but this is a fantastic horror movie. So suspenseful, the thrills, and what these kids are so demented in this movie. But I love it. It's a great movie. It's one I highly recommend that you check out if you haven't seen it. Number 6 is the Dawn of the Dead remake, 2004. Yes, Ving Rhames. I love this movie. I love the original, but I also love this remake. And the kills and the way they escape from the mall and what they do to these zombies is just phenomenal. And yeah, I love this movie. I can't say enough about it. If you haven't seen Dawn of the Dead, either the original or the remake, then what the hell are you doing? Check them out. Coming to number 5 is Identity from 2003. This movie is really, really creepy. John Cusack stars in this movie along with Ray Liotta. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank on the others, but it has to center around this story of this hotel where these group of strangers are stranded. But the thing is, someone is killing people, and they don't know who it is. And all the time, when we're seeing this story, it is in a flashback that is being told um, by a gentleman who's being questioned about what happened that night at the hotel. And from there, I'm not going to give anything away because I want you to watch the movie. But the movie's fantastic. When you find out what's going on, what happened, it's great. In my opinion, it's freaking one of John Cusack's best performances. And I think it's underrated as well. Not a lot of people probably know about it, but definitely check it out. Coming to number 4 is Jeepers Creepers from 2001. And yes, I know all the drama about Victor Silva, blah, 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 blah. All right? The man did that 30 or 40 years ago. And do I approve it? No, I don't like it. I don't like what he did. But he served his time, and he hasn't done anything since. He's been an outstanding citizen, and he's just trying to live his life. So everyone deserves a second chance. I don't know all the circumstances surrounding what happened, but it's not going to stop me from liking these movies. So before you idiots get on here and try to deter me from watching the movies or any of that, it's not going to happen. But Jeepers Creepers follows a brother and sister on their way home to visit their parents from college break. And they are being chased and tormented by a creature that we have no idea what it is or what the hell it's doing. And throughout this movie, it's a nonstop chase and chill to the bone thrill ride. And this creature, I love. Finally, we got a horror movie with something different. And this creature, man, the creeper is fantastic. The makeup effects, the special effects, everything about this movie is phenomenal. It was one of my favorite movies of 2001. And I watch it all the time. And I don't care what anyone says. I love the sequel. And I love the third movie too. And there was talks of the fourth movie, but right now there's nothing in the works. I don't know if it's because people are still complaining about Victor Silva and all this other stuff. But if the third one is the last movie, I can accept the trilogy. But I really would like some more characters. Uh, I don't think he's going to give up his rights to the franchise. Maybe for the right price. If I was a billionaire, I would definitely buy it. Um, and yeah, it's a great trilogy in my opinion. But the first movie is flawless in my opinion. Coming to number two is a movie that probably not a lot of people know about, but it is Wrong Turn 2. This movie, the franchise is phenomenal. I sat in one day and watched all these movies. And in my opinion, they got better as they went on, except for the last movie. But Wrong Turn 2 is the best in the franchise, in my opinion. Henry Rollins in this movie is badass. I love his character. This movie is about a group of kids who are being assembled to play this game in the backwoods, and they basically have to try and survive. And they end up. Hold on, my phone's going off. They have to find a way to survive, not knowing that there's these hillbillies out there that want to pick them off one by one. And of course, you have a giant douche in this movie, as you do in all horror movies. But the final persons in this movie are really good. I love Henry Rollins. I think this is his best performance in a movie. And this is a franchise that if you haven't seen, it started back in 2003. Definitely check it out. The first three movies went to theaters. The rest were direct to DVD. But check out the series. It's phenomenal. If you're not a fan of cannibalism or anything, then you might want to skip it. But this is phenomenal. The kills are fantastic. And I love this franchise. And speaking of torture, my number one favorite horror movie of the 2000s is 2004's Saw. Yes, when I watched this movie for the first time on DVD, it is phenomenal. Carrie Elways, Danny Danny Glover. This is a phenomenal horror movie. Tobin Bell as the antagonist in this movie. From the beginning, it's a nonstop ride of how they're going to get out of this situation. When their leg is chained, they're in this room with a bathtub, toilets, and they're chained to these poles, and they have to figure a way to get out of there. And what they end up doing just creeps me out. But this movie is about people being put in situations where they have to try and figure a way to solve a puzzle of how they get themselves out of a situation where they can end up dead. For example, one guy was in this room with barbed wires. Now, there's obviously no way of him getting out of there. But there's other scenarios where you have to figure out how you're going to get yourself out and who would you sacrifice to get out of your situation. And I love this movie. Tobin Bell is phenomenal, along with the rest of the cast. The direction, the story, the characters, the scenarios are phenomenal. And the ending to this movie, in my opinion, is one of the best endings ever in a horror movie. Up until I saw Sleepaway Camp, this was my number one. It has since dropped to number two, but it still has that shock factor to me when the person in that room with them was actually alive the whole entire time, and he was behind it all. And when he stood up, that my mouth just dropped, and I could not believe he was there the whole entire time. That's what makes it phenomenal. But yeah, that is my top 10 horror movies of the 2000s. So in the comment section below, give me your top 10 horror movies of the 2000s, and let me know if you agree with my list. And if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. And please share my videos with all your friends and family. Let's talk horror movies, TV shows, everything. That's what I do on my channel. The more the merrier. I welcome everybody. We all have our own opinions. So let's just have fun and talk movies. But other than that, I thank you guys for watching this top 10 list. And if you're wondering where my top 10 for the 2010s is going to be, well, we still have over a year left before I can do that list. So look forward to that in the future. But we've seen some great horror movies in the 2010s. So that list, to me, is going to be the hardest I had to do since the 1980s. So, but other than that, I thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day. Check you later.